Georgia, I know things are tough right now, but I want you to know help is on the way. My administration is preparing to beat COVID-19 and get economic relief to the American people. On day one as your president, I'm prepared to sign a COVID relief package that fully funds the public health response needed, led by Georgia's own CDC. It will ensure free testing and vaccination for every American, and will get small businesses the assistance they need right now. Let me be clear. I need Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff in the United States Senate to get this done. There are folks in Congress threatening to do everything in their power to block our efforts. We need you to get out there and vote for Jon Ossoff as well as Raphael Warnock. We need them in the Senate. God bless America and may God protect our troops.
I'm Raphael Warnock.
And I'm Jon Ossoff.
And we approve this message.
To be confident about your vote. Our great state chairman, David Schaefer, and the senators will tell you, we're on them this time. We're watching. We're going to secure the ballots, we're going to secure the drop boxes, and we're going to make sure that every absentee ballot is counted for the people of Georgia. So don't wait. Request that ballot and vote today. And if you don't want to vote by mail, I'm told in-person voting has already started, too.
You see, it's a problem when you're arguing against yourself. So the vote wasn't safe when Joe Biden won the state, but now that they've got a couple of Senate races, everything's going to be okay. Willie, that argument is so crazy on all points. And then in the middle of it, when he's trying to say, oh, your vote's secure after we've had crazy people running around this state spreading conspiracy theories for the past month, saying it's not, in the background, the chants start, stop the steal.
Stop the steal as the vice president of the United States stands there and listens to that chant. It's amazing. I mean, they've been saying for 6 weeks now that the deceased Hugo Chavez is tampering with voting machines and changing election results, and that's what they think about elections in the state of Georgia, which, by the way, for the presidential election, the vote has been counted 3 times. The Republican governor, the Republican secretary of state in that state have said, yes, everything was legitimate and good here, but they painted themselves in that corner, saying the system is rigged and corrupt. And now they're asking Republicans to go vote in that system in a couple of weeks. Not going to work.
Well, yeah, in a state where there is a civil war going on with the Republican Party, you've got, I guess, Hugo Chavez, maybe Fidel Castro. I heard Stalin's name thrown in there. are somehow working. I guess Brian Kemp and the Secretary of State have their Ouija boards out, but somehow they're in a conspiracy with Brian Kemp and the Georgia governor and the Georgia Secretary of State, and somehow getting Kelly Loeffler illegally on the ballot. So even one of the people that Mike Pence is telling them to vote for, you've got Trumpers running around with a very big megaphone saying she stole the election and that it should be Doug Collins, fast-talking Doug Collins, on the ballot. So it's bizarre. Well,
Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are running to serve Georgia in the Senate. So you might think this ad is about Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. Sure, they both received secret COVID briefings while their stockbrokers cashed in. Yeah, they both embrace the crazy conspiracy nuts. But Loeffler and Perdue aren't really on the ballot. No, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are really running against Mitch McConnell. If Mitch elects his pet senators, it's 4 more years of what we just voted out. McConnell will block COVID relief for Georgians, stop Joe Biden from appointing qualified doctors and scientists to fight this pandemic. Loeffler and Perdue will vote with McConnell every time, no matter how much it hurts Georgia. No, you won't see McConnell's name on the ballot, but he's there.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Let's talk about Senator David Perdue. Okay, everybody, listen closely.
David Perdue came in to take over as president of Pilatex. And then, within 8 months,
Pilatex closed down. Thousands of jobs were lost right after Perdue left as the CEO. Perdue says he learned from that experience, and in his next position,
Perdue was CEO of Dollar General. 2,000 female employees filed a pay discrimination lawsuit against the company.
Dollar General also paid out a $42 million settlement alleging Perdue lined his own pockets while shortchanging shareholders.
Perdue's campaign has agreed to pay $30,000 in fines for finance violations. An audit of his 2014 fundraising reports had more than $440,000 in prohibited or excessive campaign donations.
David Perdue seems to have decided that he cannot survive another minute on the debate stage with Jon Ossoff.
Senator Perdue declined to participate in this debate and is represented by an empty podium.
Although I will say that podium does have more personality than David Perdue.
David Perdue bought and sold stock shortly after a private Senate briefing on the virus.
Between $63,000 and $245,000 in Pfizer, a pharmaceutical company now developing a coronavirus vaccine. Right before he was put in charge of a powerful Senate subcommittee with jurisdiction over the U.S. Navy, Senator David Perdue began buying up stock in a company that made submarine parts.
A deposition where Perdue admits that he spent most of his career outsourcing jobs.
They aren't happy with Senator David Perdue because he hasn't held any town hall meetings.
Willfully mispronouncing the name of his colleague.
Elizabeth and Kamala, or what? Kamala, I don't know.
The man who stood behind this pulpit was opposed by the powerful and wealthy. He was called a communist, that he hated the police and his movement would destroy America. They attacked his personal life and distorted his policies. Sound familiar? It should. The hateful voices of old Georgia are back. They attacked Reverend King. Now they're attacking Reverend Warnock. It's disgusting. It's wrong. But with Mitch McConnell and Kelly Loeffler, it's no surprise. The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Before we knew about COVID-19, Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue received classified briefings about the virus. And what did they do next? They downplayed the risks, then invested in body bags. 10 months later, over 10,000 Georgians dead. Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, dead wrong.
'Twas the night before Christmas, as Georgia turns blue. Most Georgians were suffering, apart from these two. That is, looting Loeffler and Chicken Perdue. Their stockings were stuffed from the stocks that they sold when they heard COVID was coming before we were told. They sold shares in casinos, airlines, TJ Maxx, and invested in drugs and in medical masks. They bought stocks that would rise, sold stocks that would fall. It could be their hearts were 2 sizes too small. They played down the virus, said we'd all be fine, while Loeffler bought a jet on the taxpayer's dime. And don't get me started on Chicken Perdue. How chicken is he? A debate he won't do. So come one, come all, let's vote by the 5th and make Warnock and Ossoff your 2 Senate picks. Minus Touch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Senators Loeffler and Perdue are crazy rich, privileged, part of the Georgia Republican establishment that betrayed Donald Trump. They turned their backs. Our senators voted for justices they said were conservative. But what happened when Trump went to them to overturn the election? They all said no. The establishment thinks they can play us like fools. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
As of right now, when we film this video, there is no second COVID relief bill. But after months, it looks like we're finally gonna get one. But why the hell did it take so long? The holdup lies in another edition of Profits Over People, starring Mitch McConnell and the GOP. Shocker. McConnell has said over and over again these last 9 months he will not pass a second stimulus bill unless it includes liability protections for businesses, making it difficult for employees to sue if they contract COVID at their workplace.
Liability protection. Strong legal liability protections.
Strong protections from the opportunistic lawsuits that are being planned all over America.
2 things. Number 1, just like Trump is claiming rampant voter fraud with little to no evidence, Mitch has claimed there is an epidemic of lawsuits crushing businesses. And there just isn't. Congresswoman Katie Porter put it best when she compared the 385 court cases to the 15 million COVID cases. You tell me which is the more pressing epidemic.
Trying to put the imaginary need of big corporate donors ahead of the very real need of the American people.
Second, by telling companies they're not liable, they can continue to put their profits over their employees' health, like many have been doing. Just ask the 20,000 Amazon employees who've contracted COVID, or the families of the 200 meatpacking employees who died. We're gonna get our stimulus bill. With or without the cop-out for big business remains to be seen. But Mitch and Senate GOP leaders have not and will not put people before profits.
Tonight, where is Donald Trump? Where is Donald Trump? At the end of 2020, our nation is facing multiple catastrophic crises, and Donald Trump is AWOL. The Russian government is suspected of being behind one of the largest cyber attacks on U.S. infrastructure ever. Where is Donald Trump? More than 313,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus, including 11,000 people in the last week alone. Where is Donald Trump? Today, Mike Pence got a COVID vaccine on live television. It could have been a true educational moment for those who fear the vaccine, but it wasn't, because the president didn't show. Where is Donald Trump? Millions of unemployed Americans are on the brink of economic ruin, and there's still no guarantee of a deal on a relief package. Where is Donald Trump? This is far worse than his usual laziness. His absence is unacceptable and unforgivable. He's missing in action when our nation is suffering. In the more than 50 tweets Trump sent this week, he said nothing about the hack or the relief package or the surge in COVID deaths. So, where is Donald Trump? Well, he's focused on the one thing he cares about, the one thing he's obsessed with more than anything else: staying in power by undermining democracy. Pandemic? What pandemic? The Washington Post reports that states have been notified that their next shipment of Pfizer vaccines has been reduced. According to Pfizer, there are millions more doses sitting in our warehouse, but as of now, we have not received any shipment instructions for additional doses. Coronavirus cases are spiking. We have something to help reduce the spread. And the president and his lackeys are sitting on their hands? Trump has gutted the CDC and weakened the NIH so much that when a national vaccine distribution plan is now the difference between life or death, those hobbled agencies simply cannot rise to the occasion. And Trump won't help. He damaged those institutions in order to shore up his own power. But he now refuses to use that power for the common good. Because for Trump, it's always power for power's sake. And he's monomaniacal about it. He needs power. He wants to keep power. It doesn't matter what he does with it. That's what's behind his non-stop Twitter tirades, lying about election fraud. He doesn't want to let go. And his allies, his enablers, are all too willing to try and help him stay in power because it also helps them. That's a real quid pro quo. Trump pardons Michael Flynn, and Michael Flynn then goes on crank news shows and calls for Trump to use the military to overturn the election result.
Within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times.
If Trump loses his power, Flynn loses his too, and vice versa, which is one of the president's clear motives for wanting to issue more pardons to loyal stooges. Axios reports Trump wants to go on a pardon spree and help the likes of convicted criminal and his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort. But what's worst of all is that not only does Trump not want to deal with the pandemic or the hacking or the economic catastrophe, he won't get out of the way and let the president-elect and his team deal with it either. It's the worst of both worlds. Trump and co. keep interfering with the Biden transition process. Here's the latest example. Axios reports the Pentagon pushed back critical meetings by 2 weeks because of the holiday season. Trump officials tried to claim it was a joint decision. But the Biden team rejected that, telling reporters there was no mutually agreed upon holiday break. There have been pockets of recalcitrance, and the DOD is one of them. Trump wants power. He won't share power. He won't give up power. But he won't use it to do anything useful or necessary. Never has a man fought harder to hold on to a job he has no interest in doing. He won't protect us from foreign countries trying to hack our critical infrastructure. He won't help us get much-needed protection from a deadly virus. And he won't let the people who actually want to help take over. There's your answer. Where is Donald Trump? He's in the White House, torching the place, making sure that if he can't have the power of the presidency, no one else can either.